Australian NEIS campaign op shop. They're doing a Mother's Day raffle. Prize is mum gets a package valued at over $200. It comes with a gift voucher from Body Shop, Christine, and many more. All camper stuff perfect for mums. So buy 3 for $5 or 10 for $10. And that's at the NEIS campaign shop, op shop at 204 Narang Street, Southport. And the date drawn is 6th of May. So grab your tickets and the proceeds of that will go towards the NEIS campaign. I'll hand it over to Jaden and he can...
I'd like to say thanks to Rachel from Tivoli Driving and Ipswich. They are joining the Retro Car Show as a fundraising event for the Australian NEIS campaign. All proceeds will go to the centre that we are setting up at Ipswich. Event will be on the 23rd of May at 2 p.m. Plenty of entertainment, live music. Details are on our Facebook page. Big thanks to Martin from Entertainment. We are now fundraising with them. Check out the link on our Facebook page on how to become a member. 20% of the member fee will come to the Australian NEIS campaign to help us put the freeze on ice. They're also having a Mother's Day special where you can get 20 or $40 gift cards.
Thanks, Jaden. And also, I'd like to thank Matt Miller and the Adele House for giving the boys the opportunity to come on the Let's Talk About Ice show. And also thank you to Major Andrew and the Salvation Army. It's the facilities that we're using here. So thank you to those people for that. Now, we'll get into young Hayden. Welcome, mate. Now, we're going to ask you a few questions. Jaden's going to help me out. But, we'll kick it off. Just tell us a bit about yourself, where you're at in life. How's it all going for you?
Yeah, good. I'm actually at Adele House Rehab. I've been there for about 9 weeks. Come to be from a series of driving offences. I ended up in jail, and my wife, God bless her, got me drug court through drug court. And they assessed me, family drug dependent, and then they've put me in Adele House rather than lock me in jail. So, in that time, my wife's now in a rehab of her own. My kids are with their nan and pop until I get home. But I'm just blessed to have this opportunity to actually get out of addiction rather than just going back in and out of jail the way I have for the last 4 or 5 years now. So
that's great, mate. That's great. Just before you jump in there, I just want to also acknowledge the Hunter Drug Court, and that's where the boys are from. So they're up here, they're through them at the moment. So I'll put it over to Jaden.
How's it going? Where are you from, Hayden?
I'm originally from Glenis, but I'm residing in Raymond Terrace now down at Newcastle.
So you're not far from here?
I grew up not too far here on a hippie commune out in the middle of the bush.
Now that's something that I want to, and you did tell me a little bit about that, and I'm sure there's other people out there that are interested in that story. You grew up in a hippie commune. You've got a name, Hayden, but it's not...
Yeah, my name's Hayden, but I grew up on a property called Waitalawa. It's about 50 k's this side of Glenis.
Yeah.
It's a gorgeous property, but unfortunately we all like to go pot and run amok with cars and all sorts of other things.
I think that, the vices and the shady aspects of life are throughout all communities, mate. So not just the hippie commune, but I'm sure there's some lovely people out there, and it would have been quite an experience growing up out there, would it?
It was the best experience growing up. I wouldn't change it for the world. I get to see life from a whole other perspective.
Yeah, I grew up on a farm myself, and me and my brother, we loved it. It was great. So it was good growing up on the farm. Different experience. We were in the middle of nowhere, and but yeah, I found that quite interesting because it's not someone you meet every day that grew up on a hippie commune. So
yeah, definitely not. It's definitely an interesting lifestyle, but that's a good one.
Yeah.
You get to be yourself and learn about other things. You know what I mean? Not just civilization and chilling in public schools.
How do you end up falling into drugs, Hayden? Because coming from that, most people are obviously, born into crime or drugs. Was it around you or?
Yeah, it was around for me young age. My mum was always hustling a bit of weed and stuff like that, and then easy money, you know what I mean? You see easy money and you think, well, I go to work and I can make easy money. And that's what the trap that I fell into, and I progressed from marijuana dope, and then ice become a big thing, and then I just graduated from that.
That's quite interesting. And you mentioned that it was, would it be fair to say that the marijuana was a gateway drug?
100% it was a gateway drug, yeah. It opens up that stream of thinking and just that lifestyle.
Yeah, and there's other opportunities in that whole scene. And it's funny you should say that because I remember, I'll just leave you with a story about myself growing up. I was at a football clinic and Wayne Bennett was actually a guest coach at the football clinic. And he told a story about a young man who was actually, I think he got quite sick from intravenous use, but the young man mentioned that it was a gateway drug, the marijuana. And I remember listening to this story. I was 16 at the time, and I only was using marijuana. I wasn't using heavy drugs, so, and I thought to myself, in all my wisdom, being a 16-year-old, I thought, I scoffed at the idea that, from marijuana it's going to lead on to other drugs because I was only using marijuana. So, in saying that the reason I'm talking about this is because there'll be a lot of people out there who would see marijuana as just a harmless drug. Now, I understand there's like long-term marijuana users and they probably don't touch other drugs, so I'm mainly speaking to young people. Just be aware of the dangers of being in that whole scene because I can testify that it did lead on to other heavier substances. In my case, ice, obviously. I went on to speed and then ice, but you can agree with that as well, can't you?
Yeah, 100%. Like I started smoking weed and that, and it just one thing led to another. You know what I mean? Like once you're in that lifestyle, it's always there and around, and it's not long before one of your mates has gone, "Well, have a bit of this," and you're like, "Oh, I'm already having some of this. I want some of that," and then it's got your vices in you, and you unfortunately don't get away from it.
And I imagine that happened with you too, Jaden. Was that?
Yeah.
Did you use marijuana at all?
No, I never really got it much into marijuana because I greened out all the time, but I unfortunately switched straight into the heavy stuff. But yeah.
So before we go on, the marijuana use, how old were you when that sort of?
I started smoking probably about 13. You know what I mean? Like just hit off high school, thought I knew everything.
Yeah.
I was rebelling against my mum and parents and everything else, and just thought, yeah, why not give it a whack?
So that's about beginning of high school, isn't it? About that age.
Yeah, year 7, yeah.
And I imagine, like you mentioned, that it was around you, so it was probably available for you to go and nick with someone or something like that.
Yeah, just go and pick it out of the garden, mate.
Yeah.
What age was it when you got into ice?
I was about 16, 17, just before I had my firstborn daughter. My wife at the time, she went down to Newcastle to see her parents, and me and the boys got on it, and yeah, just never looked back. You know what I mean? Like, it was great. We were working on cars, this, that, the other. Thought it was everything, and then next thing you know, all the bad things come with it, like the violence, the crime, the police always after you. Never having enough money to support yourself, just having to always do terrible things. You know what I mean? It's just one thing after another.
And I guess we all have a similar story that we can testify of the same thing. I'll just take the opportunity. Anyone out there who's watching this, if they've got any questions, because there's quite interesting backgrounds and upbringings here. So what we'll do is, if you can send in your questions via Facebook, Jose's up in the sound box, and he can shoot us the questions, and hopefully we can get some sort of answer back for you. But like I say, it's a show about talking about ice. A couple of mates, we've all had an experience with ice and other drugs. 844 555, and we've got the Australian Anti-Ice Campaign head office, and they're 0756 65 6063. So ring those numbers if you are looking for help for yourself or a loved one, a family member. Sort out that information and get that help that you may require. So I'll continue. Let Jaden continue.
How long roughly after you started using ice did you find yourself like in trouble with the police?
Straight away. I thought I was 10 foot tall and bulletproof. I was driving with no licence, got done with no licence, and then, you know what I mean, I lost it. I got done with licence and just kept on driving disqualified, high speed chases, driving whilst disqualified. You know what I mean, just one thing, drug possession. Like, my record goes on and on and on. Unfortunately, I've been incarcerated 5 times since the age of 23. Yep. I spent 4 Christmases, 4 birthdays, every one of my kids' birthdays in there. This Christmas was the only one that I'd done out, and I'd done it out only because I was on the run. Yep. It's just, you don't think at the time that it's going to lead to it, but one door opens, another one shuts, and the one that shuts is always the good ones. And unfortunately, the ones that open when you're in addiction are just more poor choices.
So the charges you got in trouble for, it was mainly driving offences?
Driving offences and drug offences, just back to back all the time, you know what I mean? Like, I've got 17 drive whilst disqualifieds, I've got a couple of high-speed chases, I've got driver unlicensed, and I've got about probably 30 drug possession charges over the time. So
when was your first started, you know, when did you start first getting in trouble with the law?
I've always been in trouble with push bikes, things like that, you know what I mean? But I graduated when I was about 16 to start going to court by myself and standing on my own 2 feet, as my mother said. Yeah. But around the time that I got on the ice was the time when my mentality changed, and I didn't care, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So ice was that was your drug of choice after you've progressed from the marijuana use?
Once I smoked ice, honestly, I never turned back. I put the pot down and I was just all for it. I'd do anything to get it, you know what I mean? Like, I've lost relationships, lost friendships. I've done terrible things to people who I love, you know what I mean? I've just shit go left, right and centre, unfortunately.
So how old were you when you probably said this already, but I just want to back up so people out there can sort of get an idea of your story, because we want to hear, you know, where it all, you know, started to, you know, the drug use started to happen. So how old were you when you first tried the ice?
Yeah, about 16. Yeah, 16.
So, and you're 28 at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So that's 12 years ago. And was the drug, was it a lot of it around in the area you were living?
Yeah, it was all through the area that I was living, like all my friends, family, everything. Like, I had easy access to it. Yep. Everywhere I turned, even if I wasn't from that town, I guarantee you within half an hour of me being there, I could get on. You know what I mean? Like, it's everywhere. It's poisoning our communities, especially up in the rural.
So was it offered to you by someone you know, or were people using it that you know?
Yeah, it was offered to me by some close friends, and I always was like, no, and then I just, you know, push come to shove, and it got the better of me.
And did the people that you had it with, did they say, no, you'll be right, you know, I'm all right, and, you know, we won't do, you'll be fine, just try this? Was it sort of like that?
I think the last famous words were, mate, it's not addictive, don't worry, one time's not going to hurt you, you know what I mean? And unfortunately, once you have it, it's not addictive straight away, but the feeling you get, you feel on top of the world. So you keep chasing that, and before you know it, you've got a full-blown addiction.
Yeah, that's right. And I just want to stay on this point here. I'm just interested because the people that you had it with, and you thought, I'm safe here, they've told me I'm going to be all right, it makes me wonder how much they actually know about the drug.
They were just kids themselves, you know what I mean? Like, they had no idea either, unfortunately.
Yeah, and then see, with the Anti-Ice Campaign show, part of our program is going into schools with the Year 11 and Year 12 kids and explaining to them what it is, what's in it, how it affects the brain, and what they can expect. And, kids are going to come across it. But if they've got more, if they're educated a bit more on it and say, look, this is what's in it, this is what you can expect, they can make a better educated decision. And, maybe that might deter one or two people that are still a bit unsure. And the questions I'm asking you is about, saying, it's all right and you'll be fine. I know people do this because I was one of them people who'd say, you'll be right, try this or do this, I'm here, look at me, I'm fine, blah, blah, blah. But really, my knowledge on it was very limited during my use. And only since I've been with the Anti-Ice campaign and I've really researched it and got into it, I can see what's in it. I can understand how it affects our brains and the mental health behind it and what it does to us. So, it's quite interesting, and I say to people out there, contact these numbers if you want some information on this drug, if you want to know what's in it, if you want to know how it does affect you, because find out, and then, you might think twice about using it. I mean, if it was put in those black and white terms that I've just spoke about, I would have thought twice maybe. I'm not saying I wouldn't have had it, but, your health-wise, maybe I might have kept using, but, there might be people out there that are smart enough not to, so it's quite interesting that, isn't it, that people can, they say, yeah, it's all right, but in actual fact.
It's actually, it's a really, I'd call it a dangerous drug, you know what I mean? I remember when I first started using it, I told myself, I'll just use it on the weekends. And before I knew it, I could not use it, you know what I mean? I had to use it every day. But what made you decide to, turn your life around, Hayden?
For me, it was my kids, my wife, and the drug court was a big part of it, you know what I mean? Like being kicked in the arse and made to do it. But once I got into it, it's, my wife and my kids. Like my daughter's 11, she's only 5 years off where I started, and I don't want to lead her down the road that I went down.
Yeah, because you're a young man still, 28, and you've done quite a bit of time incarceration, haven't you?
Yeah, I've done the better part of 5 years in, yeah.
And so is it getting at a point now where you're thinking, there's a bit more to life than this? I don't want to keep going back. I know what jail's all about. I want to try something new. You're at that point in your life, do you think?
Yeah, I just want to be home to enjoy my kids' lives with them, you know what I mean? Like my son just said to me the other week, he goes, Dad, I wish just one time can you not go to jail because I'd really like to spend some time with you. And that sort of thing really hits home. And my oldest daughter, she's not talking to me at the moment because I made her a promise there last year I wasn't going to go back in, and then within 3 months I was back in, you know what I mean? So...
Yeah, and that's good motivation. I really hope and pray that you do get something out of this Adele House. It's we mentioned it last time on the show that they've got a good number of boys out there. They're right behind each other. So, how are you feeling about your rehab at the moment? Is it going all right?
Oh mate, Adele House is cracker. We've got the best bunch of boys out there. You know what I mean? Like, everyone is so caring and giving, you know what I mean? Like, we all got each other's back. We're full supportive of each other. Like, I'd like to thank Pete, Kieran, Matty Morrison, Gavin, and a few other boys up there, like Ashley. They make it a good rehab. You're happy to be there, and you're just laughing all day, every day.
Yeah. And Jaden, you said the same thing, didn't you, mate?
Yeah, it's a good rehab. Also, the staff are really good as well. Like, if you need anything, they're there for you. And, even though we're on drug court, you know what I mean? It doesn't feel like we're on court order, you know what I mean? It's a good rehab.
I suppose it's a lot better than being in the Nick.
100%.
I've never been in, but I can imagine, it's a bit more of an opportunity to learn a bit about yourself and, to share your story with other boys and try and better yourself with other fellas.
Yeah, well, coming from the living conditions of 11 Wing to Adele House, mate, it's like a fucking 12-star resort.
So let's go back a bit. Let's talk about your drug use and what that encompassed, the lifestyle that you were living. How was that for you? How were your living conditions? What were you doing? That sort of thing.
My family home was my family home. It was always like a happy home. but under the stress, like I was always stressed, I was never home. I was driving to and from Sydney every day to get on, and then I was constantly dealing with idiots every day and that, you know what I mean? Like, and just the stress and the drama that comes with it leads to crime, and you're out doing things that you shouldn't be doing and got the coppers chasing you.
Yeah, it's quite a hectic lifestyle, isn't it?
It's just non-stop, mate. It's absolutely non-stop.
And your addiction, you can agree with that?
Yeah. And the police up where we're from, when they're after you, you know what I mean? They don't play nice either.
No, I couldn't imagine they would.
Yeah.
And what I noticed in addiction is you're in a hurry getting all this everything done, but you're not doing anything, you know what I mean? It's like a big ball of stress.
You've always got 32 projects on the go and you never get any of them done.
Yeah. We were actually talking before, you know what I mean, like the lifestyle that we come from, and I wouldn't call them friends, I'd call them associates that are still in addiction. Like, if they saw us up here doing this right now, you know, they'd probably be like thinking, what the hell, but like we both agreed on, if we can stop one kid from going down the life that we went down and, you know, getting locked up, that's all I'm happy with, you know what I mean?
That's good to hear, mate. And you're both young men. I mean, you've still got a lot of life to live.
Yeah.
And to have you on this show, I mean, it's a big stepping stone for both of you. I know with you, Jaden, you got some good feedback. And I think you had the most comments we've ever had on a show from your family. So you've got a bit of a following at home. Yeah. And that's good, you know. People that want good for you, you know, they're the people you want in your life. And, you know, you're going to get knockers, all right? Yeah. This is a big step for me when I first started out, like, because I was heavy in the scene up in Queensland. And me doing what I'm doing now, there's been a couple of mates on Facebook, you know, fortunately, I've sort of blocked a lot of them, but there's a couple that they can't believe that I'm doing what I'm doing. They're like, you're serious and all this sort of thing. Yeah. You know, I'm doing shows like this, and I was dealing the drugs, you know, and running around like a madman. So to change my life and turn it around, yeah, you're going to get people that knock it, but the people that are happy for me, they're the ones I want to keep in your life. And you know, I suggest that as well. You're going to get some feedback, but hold on to the good feedback and just let go of the other stuff.
Yeah, most people understand why they're doing it, and the ones that don't, well, they don't really matter.
Yeah, and like you mentioned earlier, mate, you've got your kids, so that's a good motivation in itself. So whatever anyone else thinks is irrelevant.
Yeah, I've got 6 kids all over the state, unfortunately, but yeah, hopefully I can stop them from going down the same path that I'm going down. And I've got a lot of nieces and nephews. Like I've already buried one of my nieces and that. I've buried one of my nephews. Like, this life it isn't what it's cracked out to be, you know what I mean? And people just need to be educated on the ugly side of it, as well as what they see on TV and that, and get talked up, the hype about it. They need to know what's behind the closed door.
Let's talk about that ugly side of it, because I know it's some of it's a bit touchy, and there's certain things I don't talk about because it's hard for me to bring out in public forums such as this. But it's also good to share our stories to listeners, so they can relate to that, because I'm sure not everyone. Well, I know not everyone's got the same stories we have, but they can relate to certain parts. So let's talk about, so you're 16, it started off as a weekend thing, has it?
Yeah, it was a recreational thing here and there, you know what I mean, like just with the boys. Yep. That's what it always starts off, and it just progressively grew from on the weekends to, I need it for Monday to get up, or Tuesday, and then Wednesday, and then Thursday, and then every day, you know what I mean? And then if I didn't have it, I'd be in bed, sick, tired. I'd be irritated, grouchy, taking it out on the ones around me who shouldn't be getting taken out on.
And that is a horrible feeling, isn't it? When you haven't got it, and you know, that's when, for me, I experienced the depression, because I'd stay in bed and I'd sleep it off. But it's only so much sleep you can have, and you're just laying there in bed. And for me, I was waiting for my next dole check to come through, and so I could go and get some more. So that's one thing I don't miss about that drug, and that feeling, that depression, because you know, what goes up must come down, and it's very true. And you know, if you're using up all those dopamine receptors and you're blocking the receptors, then there comes a time when it all comes back, crashing back to the earth, and that's when it hits hard. And I really don't miss those times, because that's when I was in my darkest moments. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, see, it was much the same for me, except for I had a lot of family that were in the same path as me and that, so it was always at hand, or I just always had to go to my brothers or my sisters or someone like that, and I could get it, you know what I mean? And I didn't need to live waiting, it was just always there, so it was just a dark, progressive path, you know what I mean? Like, I never not had...
Yeah. How was your relationships with your family and friends during addiction?
I've got 6 kids to 5 different women, so I've made my fair share of mistakes, don't get me wrong, you know what I mean? Like, in 9 out of 10 times, my mothers and my children wanted what was best, and I'd say nah, and push them away, and I'd walk out, or, you know, like my mum and that, she had to take a step back at one stage, and my mum's my rock, she's always been there when I'm in jail. Like, at the end of the day, I'm just a big mummy's boy, much the same as you, Jaden.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You did say that last time, didn't you?
Yeah.
And you know, I am too. So it's good to make them happy and sort of see a smile on their face. But you know, you mentioned, you know, you've got a few kids out there. Thanks for sharing that, because you know that's upfront and honest. And so, do you have a relationship with some of those kids at the moment?
Yeah, I've got 2 with my wife. I've got my eldest daughter, which I see once a month, and my son, I actually just reconnected with him for the first time in 12 months. And his mum wasn't too keen to let that happen, because I've let him down and hurt him so many times. Yeah. But unfortunately, she just kept on giving me a chance, and giving me a chance. Yeah. And if I was her and I was in her shoes, I probably would have given up, you know. But she's a good woman, and she wants me to be there for my son, so... Thankfully, I've got that support, you know what I mean? So I've got constant support and contact with 4 of my kids, but 2 of them, like, it's my fault from being in and out of jail too, but their mums have said enough's enough, you know what I mean? And I've got to respect that, and that's just a burden I've got to bear.
You know, and I guess in time, if you can show you're doing the right thing, and, you know, things such as this, you know, it shows that you're trying to better your life, and, you know, can only... You know, things could change in the future for you. I just want to talk about other aspects of your life. Were you working at? Were you working at all when you were using drugs?
Yeah, I was working up in Stanthorpe for a guy up there helped run 2 farms and that, and he was the best boss in the world. You know what I mean? Like, he let us get away with blue murder. And unfortunately, my addiction got that bad that he's come up to me one day and he said, "Hayden, look, I'm going to have to let you go, mate." And that was probably one of the biggest disappointments I've ever had, because I never wanted to let him down, because he'd given me chance after chance after chance. And like this bloke, if I went to him and said, "Scott, I need an advance on 80 hours, he wouldn't blink an eye, you know what I mean? Like, he'd give it to me. And it wouldn't matter if I wasn't working until next season or whatever, he'd always be there. He's the type of person that always give your hand up when you need it. As long as you're at work and you're working hard, it didn't matter what your reputation was, he'd give you a go. And at the end of the day, I'll let him down, you know what I mean? And it was costing him money, and he had to say enough's enough.
So was it your attendance, or was it your actual the work? Was it the standard wasn't quite at the what they expected? Because I only asked for me myself. You know, I started having days off. And I was a dogman, so it's a high risk activity, and you got a high risk ticket. And my work standard wasn't up to scratch, and I've lost jobs over it. So, is that what happened with you? Were you having days off from work because of your use?
Yeah, I was unreliable, and I was not the nicest person to be around when I was coming down in that, and I'd go off at workers in the field, or just start abusing people left, right and centre, and just one thing got too much, you know what I mean? And he had other people lined up who were more reliable, who weren't off their heads and willing to work, you know what I mean? And he only given me a chance for 2.5, 3 years, and he finally said, "Mate, you know, if you can't pull your trousers up, you got to be out the door."
And have you experienced the same thing, Jaden? Were you working through some of your usage?
I worked here and there, but and never really kept a job. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's your motivation as well. You can't, if people are looking at apprenticeships and that sort of thing, sticking that out, because you've got to commit for 4 years. But if you're living from day to day, week to week, so to speak, you're not really thinking about that, are you? You're thinking about when am I going to get on next? And for me, it was a horrible feeling, going to work after a big binge. I mean, I remember I worked on the mines, and so I'd work for 3 weeks straight, then I'd come home with fistful of cash, and I'd party for a week, and then I'd be up for a week, and then I'd have to go back out to the mine site, and I wasn't rested up, and it was quite dangerous. So, that's something I found was something I don't miss anyway. Not being able to get up and perform at work and that sort of thing, because your drug use has taken over every aspect of your life.
It's something you don't really realise in addiction either, you know what I mean? Like, I've looked back on a couple of things. Like, my charges, as I've mentioned before, is police pursuit. I was off my face, and things could have ended bad. Like, you know what I mean? I could have been in jail for taking another life. But I'm thankful that my addiction never took me there. And, yeah.
So we've touched on relationships. Can we just talk about your personal relationships? Were they affected from your drug use? You said you've got your wife.
Yeah.
She's actually in a rehab at the moment as well. You're getting sorted out.
Yeah, well, she's an angel. She's stuck by me, but I don't know how she has. Like, I wouldn't have blamed her if she had walked away. When I first got locked up, I honestly didn't think she was going to be there when I got out. Yeah. Like, we were best friends for a long time first, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I wasn't there for her. I wasn't supporting her. I was just out running amok, you know what I mean? Like, and I betrayed her in many ways, and I let her down in a lot of ways. And fortunately for me, she was still there at the end of it, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how she was. If I was her, I probably wouldn't have been there. Yeah. So I was blessed, yeah.
Yeah, and if she's going to stick by you, it's probably, she obviously cares about you. So I've been in relationships where they've seen me get, out of control, and they haven't stuck by me. So that's just my experience. But what about other relationships, like with your siblings and your parents? How's that? You mentioned you're a mummy's boy?
Yeah, definitely a big mummy's boy. My mum's never turned her back on me, but she sort of spaced herself a little bit at one stage because I was getting pretty reckless. My dad, he loves me to death, and he's always wanted what's best for me, but he knows that when I'm in that, he steers clear because he can't afford to get there. But my brothers and my sisters, they've always been there for me, you know what I mean? Like, my older brother's in Nowra now doing a stint, and I've done AVL visits and that with him. My brother and my best mate, my 5'8", he's in Beresfield, you know what I mean? Like, and he's always stood by me no matter what, and his partner too. Like, they've always given me a place to be bailed to or paroled to, and just this last lot when I got out, my addiction must have got that bad where his partner said, enough's enough, you know what I mean? Like, you're not welcome at the house, and like, he named his son after me. We buried his daughter together, and then I named his daughter. Yeah, like, we were all pretty close, and for her to pull back and say enough's enough, you know what I mean? Like, I had to stop and take a big look and had a look at my reservations and that, and when I was in jail, and that's something I've got to make amends for. But at the end of the day, he still stands by me, and he fights hammer and nail with her about me. But at the end of the day, she's got the right to say what she's saying and be where she is. She's just trying to protect her kids, you know what I mean? Because I'm reckless, and I don't think, and she'd always lend me her car, you know what I mean? Like, day or night, I could go there and take her car, and I'd be gone. I'd say I'm going for 2 hours, you know what I mean? I'd be gone for 3 days in her car, and then she's ringing me up going, I need to go and get milk and bread for the kids. Where are you? You know what I mean? And I'm just leaving her in a predicament, which it was poor on me, and I've got to try and mend that bridge when I get home.
Yeah, and I think when you're in addiction at the time, you're not thinking about these things, but now you've sort of sobered up a bit and you've had a chance to reflect. You look at a bit of the wreckage that you've left behind and the people that you've sort of hurt along the way. And I can experience the same thing. My mother, she's my number one supporter, but she had to stand back and sort of, distance herself because, like, it gets a bit much, and they're more or less letting you know, I don't I'm not agreeing with what you're doing here. And that hurt, you know, to have your mum sort of step back. And, you know, the only time I sort of wanted was contacting her when I wanted something, and then you give them a big spiel, you know, oh, I'm a bit short on my rent this week because my pay didn't come through, but in actual fact you just want to get on, and so you give them some big spiel, and you do that for the fourth or fifth, sixth time, it starts wearing a bit thin, and they can see straight through your story, you know, they know you better than anyone else, and at the time you think you're fooling everyone, but the truth of the matter is you're not fooling anyone. You're only fooling yourself. Yeah. And I can imagine you can agree with that too, Jaden.
Yeah, definitely. My family, like they didn't become distant from me, but like I just let them down that many times. You know what I mean? Like, and I've slowly built the trust back up with them now. Like before in addiction, you know, my dad and me and my brother, like, we'll just always clash and argue, you know what I mean? But, like, really, I needed to wake up and realise that they're the ones that are going to be there for me no matter what. I don't know if that's the same with you or not, Hayden, but yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
So where are you at the moment, Hayden? You're at Adele House. You're on the drug court. How long are you at Adele House for?
Hopefully I'm here till end of May, maybe mid-June.
Right.
My drug court goes for 12 months. If I complete the program and that, I stand to look at getting my licence back for the first time in 10 years.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? But I'm phase 1, I've got to go through phase 2, phase 3.
Right.
When I was in detox and that, and they told me I was going to Adele, I was cursing. I was hating life, you know what I mean?
You didn't want it to go to...
I definitely didn't want to go here, you know what I mean? Like I thought, I'm just going to go home, just get out of jail free card, I'll go back to dealing, I'll go back to the way things were. But at the end of the day, it was a blessing in disguise. Like, you got to see the silver lining in every situation, and I'm thankful for being pushed to go to Adele, and if I had to choose any rehab today, I'd definitely choose Adele. Right. You know what I mean? Like, that was the last one I wanted to go to at the end of the day. Yeah.
So, and you're talking about the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Can you explain to us what that is?
Well, phase 1 drug court, it lasts for 3 months, and you've got to go, if I was out in the community, I'd have to go to Toronto Drug Court or the courthouse 3 times a week to do urine. Right. I'd have to do mandatory counselling and whatever the parole wants me to do, really, and I've got to live at an approved address with no criminal activities or behaviours there, and monitored by parole. I've got to be on a 7 to 7 curfew. Like, it's pretty intense, but you know, stage 2 is much the same, except for you go down to 2 urines a week, and I think a little bit less counselling. And then stage 3 is you got to do like 21 hours a week of work, volunteer, study, and you only get 1 urine a week. So you've got a little bit more wiggle room on stage 3. But if you muck up in any of these or get a dirty urine or whatever, you've got what you call a sanction.
Yep.
And that means like you've got to go back to jail for 2 weeks and get a new treatment plan and be reassessed. Yep. And if you get so many sanctions, they terminate you and you just get locked straight back up, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, we are on a suspended sentence. Yeah. So we only got so much freedom.
And so what are you on at the moment?
I'm on stage 1.
Stage 1?
Yeah.
Okay. And is this the first time you've been offered something like this?
Yeah, it's the first time I've actually had a chance at drug court. I asked for it a couple of times before and they just laughed at me.
Yeah.
You know, I was blessed. My wife went and got me a proper drug court lawyer this time, and they've actually sat down and assessed my charges, and were like, it's constantly driving with drugs or driving around drugs, you know what I mean? Like, all caught with drugs in the car, late at night, and obviously there's a problem here. Sending him to jail isn't working because he's just getting out of jail and he's just doing the exact same thing again. So they've given me a chance to show them that I can do different, and hopefully I can complete it.
So they give you that option of going to rehab with the drug court or going to jail?
Yeah, it was pretty much like you have the choice. If your address gets approved, you can be out in the community and you can go home, so you don't have to necessarily do a rehab. But sometimes they think you're too far gone or your address isn't good enough. Yep. And they say, look, mate, you've got to go do anywhere up to, like, I could be at Adele House for 12 months if they wanted me to be there. Right. At the end of the day. They've got control over me for that. But it's not until you tick all the right boxes out at Adele and get good reports and everything that they'll allow you to go. Like, just last week I did my exit, my lapse plan, because my caseworker thinks I'm doing so well. Yep. But at the end of the day, it's not up to her. It's not up to the rehab. It's up to drug court. You know what I mean? So it's what they go off.
And so you mentioned that you thought about just doing your time in jail instead of going to the rehab. Did you?
Yeah, 100%. And I was looking at an 18-month sentence, and I was weighing up just terminating drug court and just doing my 18 months. You know what I mean? Like, and that wasn't 18 months on the top. That was 18 months on the bottom. So I would have been incarcerated for 18 months and then got out of a parole period.
Right. And what made you decide to go to the Adele house?
My wife and my kids, you know what I mean? Like, I stopped, I weighed up my options, and I thought, if I can actually change my life, like, my wife's begging me, please, Hayden, just take a step back and look at it. And when I was in the cells at Cessnock, I was looking back at all the things that I'd done in the 11 months that I was out, because in 6 years, that 11 months is the longest time I've been out. You know what I mean? And I've hurt so many people in that time and lost so many people that I thought, maybe I'll give this a go. It might work, you know what I mean? And I've been in the NA rooms for a lot of years, you know what I mean? But I've always thought this is a crock, you know? But being at Adele house, you choose to do the program. It's there if you want to do it. It's not pushed on you. Like, you've only got to do an hour of class a day in that. Yeah. You got a lot of free time. You can choose to go to meetings. It's a good program because it gives you the option to do it. They don't just jam it down your throat, you know what I mean? Like, and the way Jackson and Matt Miller are running it, as much as he stirs you and tries to push your buttons, he's doing it out of love, you know what I mean? You've got to give him credit where credit's due. So
anyone that's out there at the moment listening to this story and they're faced with that choice of going to doing their time or going to the drug court or to a rehab, you're saying take that second option, try your rehab, give it a go.
100%. Like, just give it a go. At the end of the day, what do you got to lose? You're only going to be doing time inside, away from your friends and your family. You can come to a 5-star resort like Adele. Like, we got a pool, we got a sauna, we got a state-of-the-art gym, we got Netflix, we can smoke, we got our phones, you know what I mean? Like, there's vending machines. Mate, you don't got none of that in jail. You can go to jail, be locked in for, 18 hours a day, you're out 6 hours, and you're doing laps all day with nothing, waiting an hour and a half to get on the phone, and half the time there's a punch-up over the phone line.
But I guess more importantly, you're around other like-minded people that are wanting to try and solve this problem of addiction. Whereas in jail, I can imagine there's only so many programs that they run in there that you're just actually left there to do your time. They're not actually working on you or anything like that, I can't imagine.
I don't know about Jaden's time in jail, but he'd probably agree with me that when you go to jail, it's just a crime school. You go in with a doctorate of this and you'll come out with a bachelor of that. Because you've got 150 criminals sitting there talking about how you can get away with it better and how they got away with this or what loophole is here. So no matter what you do, like, they think jail is actually helping, but it's just making you a career criminal. And
you, Jaden, you obviously opted to go to the crime court, or what do you call it?
Drug court.
Drug court. And that was a decision did you think about doing the time, or?
I got locked up the night before sentencing, and I breached my bail with an extra 5 charges. And the judge said to me, it's either 18 months in jail or drug court. So I thought, I'd go to drug court, and I'd never intended on stop using. I was just going to get out of jail and go home and chop in. But my address, because that's where mainly all my crimes and that was committed, they didn't approve it. So I had to come to Adele house. And I guess like the staff and the boys there, like, once you get there, they make you want to turn your life around. And I don't know about you, Hayden, but the support and everything that I've got from my family and my friends, like, it's worth more than any high that I've ever got off ice.
So that's my next question. What's working for you boys at the moment? It's been around other blokes that are trying to sort their own lives out, as opposed to criminals looking to do criminal behaviour.
Yeah, definitely. Like, Adele house, the boys that are there, they're absolutely amazing. Like, when I got there, I was a bit standoffish and that. I didn't know what to expect because I just come from jail, and everyone's a bit reserved in jail, you know what I mean? Like, but everyone's nice. They welcome you. They give you whatever you need, you know what I mean? They're always there. They're very supporting. They're always pushing you to go to meetings, whatever else. It's like I've never laughed so much in my life. Like, my wife always said when I got out of jail, I had no sense of humour and I was always taking everything, like, as an attack. But every time I ring her, from once I've been at Adele house, I'm just stirring her, laughing at her, and she's telling me, "Aiden, stop it, it's not a joke," and I'm like, well, you're going from one extreme to the other. You never wanted me to laugh before, I'm finally laughing.
And so you can see that change, or in yourself. You're not as staunch and you're not uptight as opposed to being in jail.
I'm a lot more upfront, I don't have any hidden agendas, or I'm not looking at what I can make out of this, or, like what you see is what you get. I'm here for recovery, here for my kids, my family.
And there's nothing wrong with being like that, being around like-minded people that want what's best for you, people that are upbeat, people that are not out to get something out of you, or you vice versa, you're trying to rot you and manipulate you. And so, it's good to hear that you give this the rehab a chance, because I remember when I first went to the NA rooms, I'd heard about them and I thought to myself, it's just going to be a bunch of washed up old junkies crying to each other. And I thought, I haven't got time for that. But it's not like that at all. It's quite interesting, different walks of life, talking about their experience. And we're all just trying to deal with life the best way we can. So it was quite interesting to go along and experience that. And I guess it's like anything in life, you shouldn't really knock it until you try it, I guess.
100%, yeah. I would recommend it to anyone to give it a go. The program works if you want it to. I'm 3 months, 28 days clean or something, and that's probably the longest time in my life. Even when I was in jail, I was using all the time, you know what I mean?
That's the question I was just about to ask you, how many days clean you were, because as you know, I just actually had my 6-month birthday. I think it was yesterday or the day before.
Well done, mate. That's a big one.
Yeah. 100%.
For an addict to say that, it's a big achievement.
Yeah, I never thought I'd achieve that. You know what I mean? Like, the longest I ever went without ice, since I was 18, was when I was having to sleep, or if I had to go get on. You know what I mean? And I've still got family in addiction, and it hurts to see them still in addiction. You know what I mean? But that's why I do this sort of stuff, to try and push them to get the help that I needed a long time ago. And that's what makes Adele so good as well. Like, most of the staff there never walked in our shoes, you know what I mean? So it's not like, I don't know, I've got this thing where you don't come preaching to me if you haven't been there, you know what I mean? And like Jackson, he's got a lot of years up clean. He actually calls Adele the shit go headquarters, because a lot of people get shit go to get them well, you know what I mean? But yeah, like the staff there, they're amazing. Like Sam, Jackson, Matt Miller, Helen, and Jess, they're all amazing.
And so the question was, what's your clean time up at the moment, mate?
3 months and 28 days, I do believe, yeah.
Well done. And like I say, anyone that knows what addiction, especially ice addiction, just say you've been 1 day is a big achievement. So congratulations. And how are you feeling with it all? You feeling strong about it? You getting on with life?
I'm feeling a lot more like myself, actually. Like, I'm getting things done. I've got more motivation to do things. I'm just a happier person. I'm less stressed. Like, I was always stressed. I was always thinking people were out to get me. I was always thinking the cops were after me. Half the time they were, though. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. You know what I mean? But
the paranoia, and you're not doing anything wrong at the moment. So even if they are watching you,
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Like, I had them turn up out at Adele a few weeks back, and they come and question me about a chase and that, and I just looked at them and said, look, if you got me, you got me, you know what I mean? Just charge me and we'll get it over and done with. Like, if you had said to me 4 months ago the coppers were after you, I would have been smashing my phone and running out the door.
I think it's especially from using the drug ice. I'm 6 months clean, and out in the community, the police don't ever know me up here, but every time I see them, if they're near me, I still get a little bit paranoid and worried, you know what I mean? But that's just something I've got to work on, and
I think it's a natural reaction.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been clean for nearly 2 years now, and if I see a copper just out of instinct, like in my review mirror, but then I think, well, I'm not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
They can't really get me for nothing. So you're feeling good about yourself. You're getting your old character back. You got a bit of you're seeing the lighter side of life. What does the future look like for you, Hayden?
It's looking pretty good at the moment. Like, I'm going to go home. I'm going to try and get my little girl back out of foster. even though she doesn't want to talk to me at the moment, once I get home I know she'll talk to me. I'm going to try and make amends to a lot of the people that I let down. You know what I mean? Like, I'll love to give them a shout out, just to Cameron, Natalie, Chuka, Shannon, Jenna, Holly and Nate. They've always been there to support me, even when I didn't deserve it, you know what I mean? Or even like Natalie especially, like I had a lot of people turn up Natalie's and be like, I want to get that little fella. And she's like, nah, you can't touch him, he's my little idiot, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I just want to do good for them. You know what I mean? Get some work, you know, just get some money behind me and get somewhere, get a nice car again.
Yeah, I think, you know, at the moment you have to concentrate on yourself, but in the future, if other people see you doing well, they can take something from that. And, you know, I guess that's what this show's all about, giving other people hope. I mean, like I said, I'm 2 years clean. There is life after ice addiction, and, you know, it's a good life. I won't say it was a walk in the park getting clean. It was, you know, it was difficult, but, you know, getting around like-minded people, being part of forums such as the Anti-Ice Campaign, that's what's helped me. You boys have got your meetings out at the Adele house. So I just want to ask you, Hayden, from here you'll go back home to Newcastle, is it?
Yeah, I'll be going back to Raymond Terrace, yeah, back home.
How do you think you're going to go with that?
Yeah, I think I'll be doing all right, you know what I mean? Like, I've got a sponsor down there. I know where my local meetings are and that, and for my friends and family that are still in addiction, you know what I mean? Like, I've segregated myself away from the people who don't know healthy boundaries, and I know the ones that are still in addiction will support me even if they're not ready to get there themselves, you know what I mean? They're not going to push it on me, they won't have it around me. They understand that if I go back to the way I was, that I'm going back to jail, you know what I mean? And they love me and they want me there enough to know what not to do, So
before you end up back at home, you've got to stay up here, obviously, and you've got to wait until the drug court give you a date where you can go back home, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. On end of May, I'll be 90 days, so I'll be able to go home, have a weekend leave. And I'm hoping that 2 weeks after that I'll get an exit date, because my caseworker seems to think I'm doing really well. I've made a lot of growth and I've come a long way, So
you're allowed to go home for a weekend, you go and catch up with family, and then you've got to come back up?
Yeah, come back up here after doing, like, go down there the Friday, spend Saturday, Sunday with my family, and then come back, go drug court Monday, and then come back up to Adele probably on the Monday afternoon. But it's going to be hard, don't get me wrong, you know what I mean? Like, going back home, well, it's going to be a lot of different feelings and a lot of like emotions. And I'm not going to want to leave once I'm there. But at the end of the day, I've got to prove to the courts and I've got to prove to Adele that I'm able to go back out in the community without using, you know what I mean? So it's just steps. You got to take those steps to get there.
And so your goal is to be able to spend that time, once you get yourself sorted, spend that time with your family, get to know your kids a bit better, maybe get some work, that sort of thing?
Yeah, 100%. Just make up for lost time, you know what I mean? Like, you can't get time back. Yeah. And at the end of the day, I've wasted or lost a lot of it. Yeah. So kids are only kids for so long.
Yeah. I mean, I'm 41 at the moment. I was about 38 until I got my act together. So I was 10 years on you. And all I can say is, from an ex-addict, the sooner you get yourself sorted, the better, because you don't want to put another 10 years on top of that and then look back and say, you know, oh, that bald-head fellow was telling the truth, I should have listened to him. That's a fact. And most ex-addicts or even addicts will say the same thing. Sooner you get yourself sorted, the better. And then you can get on with life and start living how it was always intended. And, you know, by the sounds of it, you got reasons to do that. Even if it's not enough for yourself, you got your family and that sort of thing. But, you know, I really hope that this time's different for you. But only you know that. Only you know that. So, but we'll just leave. I'll let because we've got 5 minutes to go. We'll finish off with this last question, and I'll let Jaden ask.
What can you tell our audience about this drug, Hayden?
It's dangerous. It's highly addictive, and you don't realise it at the time until it's too late. And once it's got you, there's no going back, and you'll do anything to keep getting it, and you'll end up going down a dark road of crime, violence. You know, you lose friends, families, loved ones, and at the end of the day, you'll turn around telling yourself that it's never your fault, you know what I mean? It's always their fault, or it's always someone else's fault. You've always got a scapegoat. You can always justify whatever you're doing wrong, or why the police shouldn't be after you, or why this is a shit go. But at the end of the day, you got to wake up and realise that this is all because of the drug. Like, and people can't just blame the drug. Yes, I get that, but it's what leads you to the mentality that everything is not your fault. You know what I mean? Like, just times you got to step up and take responsibility. You know what I mean?
I think the message from your story tonight, what stands out for me is to seek that help as opposed to going to jail. Now, not everyone has to get to that point where they're put in that position whether they go to jail or they go to rehab. If you've got that opportunity at the moment, you know, you're not looking at any sort of custodial sentence, but you may think you're going to end up going down that road. I guess from your story you can say go and get that help, go to rehab, because you can self-appoint and go put yourself into a bed at rehab. And I guess that's the message I got from your story tonight is give that a chance, go and get yourself sorted, as opposed to going to doing a custodial sentence, because this is a bloke that spent been to jail 4 or 5 times, and in the end you didn't want to go back, and you end up opting for the drug rehab. And the same in your case, Jaden.
Yeah, definitely. If you know, if you can self-appoint yourself to the rehab, like that, in my eyes, that takes so much courage. You know what I mean? Like, I thought my addiction was going to either end with me dead or in a lengthy prison sentence. Yeah. But it's so, like, the recovery, it's hard, but in the long run, it's worth more than any high you can get from ice. Ice is a disgusting drug, and the simple message is not even once.
It is. It's a putrid drug, and it makes you do things you wouldn't imagine yourself doing, and it takes you away from the person you are.
Oh, it robs you for your dignity, your morals. Like I've seen people do the most putrid things just to get the next hit. And now that I think back on it, like even the way I've treated my family and my friends, like it makes me a little bit depressed sometimes. Yeah. But I'm here to make amends to them and show them that I can change, and we can recover.
Yeah. Well, and I think if your families can see this and see the boys they're trying their best. They're taking the right step in the right direction. I just hope and pray that your boys keep going with your walk. Thank you very much for coming up on the show. Thanks for coming back. Jaden, Hayden, thank you very much for sharing your story with us, mate. You're open and honest, and I hope it all goes well for you. Before I shut it up, I'm just going to give you a few numbers, and that's the 1-800 No to Ice. That's 1-800 668 423. The family support number is 0481 844 555, and the Australian Anti-Ice head office is 0756 65 6063. Thank you very much once again, boys, and good luck with it all.
Thanks, Benny.
And we'll see you next time. We might get you on in a month or two, and we can see what progress you're making.
No worries, Ben. Thanks for having us.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
See you.